Hey friends, what's up? It's Jess Falco. I'm really happy to put together this second ever Jess Saying, and tonight I got a chance to talk one-on-one with our very new stream friend BakerBase, so I hope you enjoy. Well, cheers! I don't know if you're drinking with me, but I'm always drinking,
I
so
am.
yes!
I've got. It's called Current Obsession.
Oh,
It's
is that me? Oh, that's the beer. Sorry. What?
the beer is called Current Obsession.
Well,
Uh,
cheers, friend. I'm
yes,
really glad
cheers.
that you won. You got those tickets in at the last stream, I think.
Yeah, it was very exciting.
Yay! This is actually super exciting for me because so the last one, which was the very first one, as you already mentioned, was Ozzy, and he has been in my streaming community for like months, like 7 months, almost since I started streaming.
Oh,
And so like I know him really well. Like we've played a lot of games together. He's been in WoW with us. Like we've spent a lot of time together. So I feel like I already knew him really well, even though we never had like a one-on-one. And I was like
yeah.
so excited when you won because you're one of the people that are like newer to the stream, and like we've had some really interesting DMs that I can't wait to talk more about, and like we've had like some really fun interactions, but like I really don't know a lot about you, so I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So Baker Base, I didn't mention that.
Yeah.
You want me to call you Baker Base, I'm guessing.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Can I start with like a silly icebreaker and just ask you what the name
Go
means?
right ahead. Baker Base. So when I was in Iraq, that's what like one of the camps I was at. That's what Baker Base was, the central place that you radioed into every hour. And so it was whatever like OP Alpha calling Baker Base. So
That's so
yeah,
cool. So it's like a nod to your service and like very memorable for you.
yeah.
Do you ever meet people or do you ever run into people that know what that name is?
Uh, yeah. I mean, there's a fair few people who served in Habanaya.
That's crazy.
Habanaya is a very small base just outside of a base called Altakatum or TQ and the middle of Iraq. So
Well, that's cool. I don't know any of those places, so
yeah,
most people don't
most
though,
people
right?
don't.
Yeah. I'm like, am I the ignorant one, or I think most people just don't know that. How long were you in for?
I was in for 7 years.
What a weird
So
prison way to ask that. I think that's the typical way to ask it, though, right? It sounded very prison-esque when I said it.
there are times where they have correlation. Uh, you know,
Not my opinion, in case the government is listening. Well, thank you for your service. I don't know if that's a cheesy thing to say, but I genuinely feel that it's a nice sentiment to express to people, even if it feels kind of like a hokey thing to say.
yeah. I mean, it's accepted.
Nice.
I don't know if that sounded weird.
No. Well, I mean, I guess how do you feel about it when people that you don't know? I guess this conversation is a little different right? Because like we're getting to know each other, but like even complete strangers will be like, "Oh, thank you for your service." Like, what do you just say you're welcome? Like,
Oh, valuable.
conversation is a little different right? Because like we're getting to know each other, but like even complete strangers will be like, "Oh, thank you for your service." Like, what do you just say you're welcome? Like, feel like, "Oh, whatever," or is it you're like, "I don't even know you."
Uh, Receiving compliments has never been like a strong suit of mine,
Me either.
and so yeah, people saying that usually like I don't embarrassed isn't the right like term, but like
Awkward.
you feel awkward. Yeah, it's just like weird and awkward and
Aw.
just like I did a thing, but okay.
Yeah, you did like an exceptional thing that not everybody does.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's of the mindset like it's a job I did, whereas most people who are working at like an office or something will be like it's a job they did. And you have like that different vantage point on what you did. So
I can feel the feels. I can feel those feels. So you don't regret it. You said you were over it like immediately.
Oh yeah. I mean, the only thing that I missed was the people that I served with.
Oh yeah. I mean, you guys get really tight.
Yeah, you develop a pretty strong bond with them, and
yeah. Do you still talk to quite a lot of them, or is it kind of dwindling now?
It dwindles down, and I mean, like, I could still reach out to most of them, but there's about like 15 to 20 that I keep in regular contact with.
Interesting. Yeah. So my dad was career Army. So I guess I was a little bit of an Army brat when I was younger. Not really, because like my dad retired when I was still like really young. So I didn't really experience the whole like true Army brat move around, even though I was born into the military. But it's interesting to hear, him. My dad's kind of like a closed lid kind of guy anyway, so he's not like super open. But like every once in a while he'll refer to like, these certain relationships that he made in the Army, and like there's a couple men that throughout his, young man life was very, very close with, and like they lived together in multiple different places and then get stationed together. And I always thought it was really interesting because they were kind of like his best friends, but he doesn't refer to them like that. They're like, I don't know, they're like a closer entity that he just kind of refers to as if it's a normal relationship that everybody experiences. And I'm like, well, not really. Like, I have friends, I have people I've met at work, I have people like I've met at school, but I feel like the relationship he has with a couple of these people from his past it's not family, because it's not, but it's definitely closer of a bond than I think I would have like with my friends. And I just found it very fascinating.
Yeah, it's that like, I guess like shared trauma thing.
Yeah.
Where you're both undergoing the same stressors, so it's really easy to relate to each other.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like, you usually find the people that you can genuinely get along with well.
Yeah.
And so then it's like it's a loop, like the more you go through together, the deeper that bond becomes. And like, there's a guy I served with, Scott, that I could reach out to him day or night, anytime, with a random question or a request, and he could probably help me out with it. And, him for me. And it's one of those things that it's just like, everybody in the military tends to develop those just because of the unique system.
Yeah, that's kind of remarkable. I don't think I've ever had a problem making friends. Like, I can make friends if I need to, but it's always like effortful, it's like finding people you have something in common with, and finding things to like really connect over. And like, for me, finding deep, meaningful friendship is difficult, not finding friends. And it feels like this Army situation kind of throws you into these deep, meaningful connections, whether you are looking for it or not, which is just, I find the interpersonal component to it so fascinating.
And so then I started my degree in 2013, and I finished it in 2017. But in that time, I got to go to Chile for a research trip because one of the grad students needed a field hand, and I was dating her at the time.
Oh,
so
I was like, dang, how were you the lucky one that got to go to Chile?
Yeah.
Hey, science pays. Yeah. Are you still with this nice lady scientist?
No.
Oh, well, she's not good enough for you anyways. Unless you're still friends, then she's lovely. Okay, so you were dating your teacher, and she was like, "Hey, we want to come to Chile."
We never dated when she was.
Clarification: I did date my teacher, but after she wasn't my teacher.
Exactly, she was my TA.
I'm like, that happens a lot, actually. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Not with me, but I have never dated a student.
I mean, I was already older than her when, like, I mean, I'm older than her, but
yeah.
I went back to school. I'm 36 now, so 7 years ago, I was 29.
Yeah.
So I was already older than, like, most of the grad students.
Yeah.
And I was almost, like, I was a year younger than the newest faculty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's about right. Uh-huh.
It puts you in a really weird position with.
It does, because I went back to school right about that age as well, so I definitely sympathize, because the younger faculty you're the one to be like friends with. Like, I had a beer with one of my chemistry teachers in undergrad, and like it was very innocent, but I remember thinking to myself, like, I really like him and I really like being friends, and he's like married. I meant, like, I liked him, platonically.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think that we just can't be friends, because even though there wasn't anything going on, I just felt like it was inappropriate,
Yeah, and I think the second worst thing about being traditional, being single and trying to date.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just a sea of 18 to 22-year-olds that you're trying to avoid and find those, like, adults that you can, like,
which is pretty much impossible. Yeah, for me, I found it to be a very double-edged sword, in the sense of, like, there's nobody really in your direct peer group, and so you're where people usually find people, right? Work and school, that's usually out because, the age gap or the connection gap or whatever. And then you try to date outside of the program, and those people don't get your life, because they're now, in careers, and they have, like, hobbies, and I'm like, well, I can't come out tonight because I've got to do homework, or I've got to grade papers, or I've got, it's like, and especially in a graduate school program, like, I have even just some friends that aren't even, like, dating, that are just like, what do you mean? You're busy every weekend. I'm like, this term is too hard. Like, I can't. They're like, oh, okay. And they don't really get it, and I'm like, I'm not being flaky. Like, I'm struggling, So, I totally get it. Like, you kind of get fucked on both ends. Like, people your own age that are outside of the program don't understand your life, and the people that understand your life aren't your age.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It is really impossible.
Hallelujah for being done. I mean, for you, not for me. Although for me, only one more year.
I'm starting a master's program this fall, so.
But you know what, though? Master's isn't as bad. It's not as bad. It'll be really intense, and you'll have, like, a lot of homework and all that, but you'll survive the master's easily. Yeah.
Well, I basically already did a master's project without the writing. So, So what was your career before you decided to become a chemist?
Yeah. So it wasn't chemistry at all. So before I went back to school for science, I was in the legal field. I was a paralegal, and in the beginning of my career as a paralegal, I did work in, like, family law firms and civil litigation, like doing employment law, protecting people from unlawful termination, like if they get discriminated, or if they get fired for, like, discrimination reasons. And then I, towards the end, was working in the entertainment industry, so I did contract administration for distribution rights for like Hollywood films, and, like, I worked for Disney ABC domestic television, and that was a really fun job. And so I had a very, very different life before I started doing science. So I kind of went from, like, legal, like, litigation, like in court law, and then I did entertainment law, which is more like sitting at a desk and doing, like, contracts. And then I was just like, oh, I'm done here. I'm gonna do science now.
Why'd you land on chemistry?
Oh, that's actually a good question because I didn't leave the legal field thinking I was going to go be a chemist, actually. So when I was a kid, I always wanted to be a medical doctor because I actually was a really sick kid. And so I bonded a lot with my, oh no, you left. Oh no. Hello? Hello? I feel like Rose in Titanic right now. Come back! Come back! Jack! Now I'm just gonna throw my big ass fucking diamond into the ocean.
Hey!
Oh! I hear you. I don't see you yet. Oh! Little blue squares. Yay! What happened? Did your phone die?
No, it like you were speaking and then you just froze. And I don't know.
I froze. Was it wonderful or was it like which freeze was it? Was it the beautiful cut screen?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
You're lying. I can tell. It was real weird. I probably was like doing something like this. There, I'm froze again.
No. Definitely didn't take any pictures.
Well, sorry about that little snafu, but it looks like you took a picture?
No!
Well, anyhow, about my long and illustrious career as a movie star. I think that's what we were talking about.
Yes. Yep.
Not at all. I think you were asking me about why chemistry.
Yeah.
Yeah, why chemistry? Why chemistry? So I didn't plan on being a chemist at all, actually. So I was a really sick kid, and I was at the doctor a lot. And as with any child, whatever, adult role model you see a lot, you usually kind of bond with, and you kind of, form a, like, I want to be that when I grow up, because, I don't know, I liked her a lot. Dr. Broberg, that was her name. And so I thought I wanted to be a pediatrician when I was a kid. Well, I wanted to be two things. I wanted to be an artist and a pediatrician, because I wanted to help sick kids like me. I wanted to basically be Dr. Broberg because she was so loving. She was so maternal, and she was also like helping me get better. But then I wanted to also like, express creatively my love for the other people. And I wanted to like draw, this is what I said when I was a kid. I wanted to like draw pictures and make them feel better and actually make them feel better. So like basically what I was saying is like, I want to treat the body and the mind. Like I was a fucking advanced little shit, man. So after I did the whole like legal field thing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to school because I just want more. I just was like bored and stir crazy, and I just wanted more out of life. And so I actually went back to college to get a science degree, intending to go to medical school. And I took my very first chemistry class. I think it was even introduction to chemistry. It wasn't even like chemistry 1. And I was just like, yo, this is like math plus science. What is this? And I was so hooked immediately, and I was so into it. And I think from that point, I didn't immediately decide to go to graduate school. I think it wasn't until I finished a year of chemistry. So after that, I decided I would be a chemistry major because I loved it that much from like the get-go. And I was just like, I'm definitely, my undergrad, I'm going to focus on chemistry. I loved it so much. The mathematical approach to it was so satisfying because I love math, and I just love sitting and like doing, problems and solving mathematical puzzles. And oh yeah. So that whole year I had decided I was going to be a chemistry major, but to still go to medical school. And at the end of that year, I was just kind of like taking stock of my life and like reevaluating like, my personality, I guess. And I was like, med school has been like a childhood dream, but I don't know if it fits me as well as this does. Like, this brings me true satisfaction, and like I really enjoy this. And when I take when I took human anatomy or like biology, I was just like, oh, I mean, it's cool, but like it's fine. But when I did the more physics, and that's I think why I also became a physical chemist, which is basically like a physicist chemist hybrid, is I really like that mathematical physics approach to things. The like more human approach. Like, I like it and I appreciate it, but like I don't want to do that. I want to do the math, So I think that's how I ended up as a chemist, is kind of by happenstance, and just trying to honestly like listen to my own personality and listen to my own interests, and try not to get stuck in that like fallacy, that like sunk cost fallacy of like, well, or that sunk emotional investment fallacy, where it's like, well, this was the plan, like I'll be a quitter if I don't do this, which I'm very prone to that. So I really always just kind of approach life of trying to listen to what's making me happy, what am I excited to do, what would I happily sit and spend 4 hours doing, not begrudgingly spend 4 hours because it's an assignment, and I think that is really telling on like where my life has gone over the years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think so. I think I had a really I think my whole life has been a very weird journey, like, doing the legal stuff and working in the entertainment industry, and now being a scientist, or, working in space science at like NASA, and now like being in academia, and then like, my what next, I won't probably even be a scientist. I'm like putting a business plan together to like start a business that's going to be completely different as well. And I think all of these like twists and turns and all of that, I don't think it makes me lost or like without direction. I think what it is like me just following what I think is going to make me happy. And honestly, I think more people in the world would be happier if they listen to that passion-based drive, rather than the like, well, the expectation is I go to college and I get a business degree and I go work at Heinz Ketchup doing marketing. It's like, are you passionate about Heinz Ketchup? Some people are, but it's like what I feel like I've just been floating through life like on a whim, but somehow it's been working for me. So I don't know, maybe I'm just the luckiest son of a bitch ever.
No, it's it's like the only reason I'm going back to get my master's is because I realized the semester I was graduating that mining was what I wanted to do. And because I really enjoy the outdoors aspect of having been in the military and the nature aspect of things, and mining is what, like, exploration end of mining is what would give that to me. And since nobody else in my department did mining, it wasn't until I met this guy at a conference that I was like, holy shit, that's the answer. And then I spent 2 years. Yeah. Not LPSC.
AGU.
No, it was at GSA.
Oh, okay, smaller.
Yeah.
I've only been at AGU and LPSC.
I've been to all three. Yeah. Well.
So you met this guy in the mining, yeah.
So I met this guy, Terry, and
Terry.
Like, yeah, he's this Australian guy who emigrated over here and is now like a VP in a pretty decently sized mining company. And like, he talked to me like I was a peer, and it was like the perfect kind of person to like stoke the fire. So I spent years trying to get a job without having a master's, and mining is like the odd duck out when it comes to internships, because you can't do an internship after you've graduated.
Oh.
You have to do it before you finish your degree. Exactly. And it's like, well,
It's like they make it impossible for people to be successful in the world.
Yeah. So you basically either have to have internship or a master's, preferably both. So here I am going back and getting them.
Isn't that the shit? And like it's not like anybody is paying us for this. This is an investment, and like it's so much money.
Well, it's one of those things, like, I have quite a long list of things on my resume. Like, I have a lot of stuff that I've done, and I'm, like, quite competent at what I do.
Yeah.
But just because I didn't get that internship and I don't have my master's, that's it. That's where
you're like, motherfuckers, I was in the military. I know leadership and teamwork better than anything.
I know. And that's one thing, like, Terry was telling me. He's like, he's looked at my resume. He's like, I know you're a good candidate, but that's just the way the hiring practices are.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's so stupid. It's one thing that I think really people need to start changing in our society is this idea that, like, oh, you know, like we were talking about, you follow this track, you go to school, you get an internship, you do a thing. Like, what about apprenticeships? What about, like, people like you are a highly educated, highly trained person. You were in the military. You've got, you know, a college degree. Like, why wouldn't you be able to just get like an apprenticeship or get you know, internship? I don't want to call it that, but like, why wouldn't you be able to get your foot in the door? They force you to go re-enroll in a master's program, get a degree that like you're getting only so you can get a job. It's like, it's so dumb the way America treats this generation of workforce. It's like all of these degrees that are meaningless. Like, well, friend, on that note, on the note that's like funny and happy things, not the like we were talking about kind of cringy, gross things a few minutes ago. So I'm glad we've like we brought the conversation back to the height of excitement and enthusiasm and social discord.
Yes.
We should end this wonderful call. But I want to say this was a blast, and I really, really, really enjoyed hanging out with you. I feel like I learned so much about you, and I feel like everyone's going to have a lot of fun hearing all of your interesting tidbits. I feel like you're going to get a lot of DMs. You better watch out. How do you feel about dick pics?
I'm not a fan of them.
You're going to get them. You're going to get them. You're going to get flooded. They're going to be everywhere.
Does Instagram have an issue with posting dick pics?
Posting? I don't know. I don't think I follow the kind of people that would post them.
Well, so I was listening to your conversation with Ozzy, and I had the idea. I was like, but what if you just started an Instagram account with all of the dick pics that you got, like with the person's name attached?
Ooh, that would be really interesting. That definitely is toss. Like, that's definitely against terms of service because you can't post nudity on Instagram. Some people get away with it because like women will be like next to nude and women will be like covered up a little bit, but you actually can't post nudity.
Or, like, the X's.
Yeah, or things like that. Yeah. So if I did do something like that, which I don't have enough content to have an Instagram page for that, nor would I want to encourage that kind of nastiness on the internet. But if I wanted to, I would have to, like, you know, I would have to use creative editorial skills.
Yeah.
Which kind of sounds fun now, but that means I'd have to look at penises a lot, and I don't want to do that. This is sounding like a terrible idea the more I think about it. And now I'm thinking about the penises I've seen. God damn it, we were going to end on such a positive note. Wait, what the fuck happened? BakerBase! I was like, okay, let's get the conversation to like a really good, like not a weird, not a gross place. Like let's get this place to like a really just like good, happy ending note. And now I'm thinking of strangers' penises. Like they're in my brain right now. I can see them.
Sorry.
Are you though?
I am.
All right. Well, let's call it a night. I've got things to think about clearly. This was a lot of fun, though. Thanks for spending time hanging out with me. I'm really glad that you won the raffle. So you won't be eligible for the next one, but any of them after that, you're welcome to hang out with me some more if you want to be punished some more with this very, I don't know, insightful and painful conversations.
This was an absolute delight.
Ah,
It was
thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you. You're an absolute delight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So
You guys. All right. Well, darling, I will see you tomorrow for a Sunday stream day. We'll be doing Stream Raiders and the World of Warcraft. If you're interested in coming back to the World of Warcraft, I have to say, retail is very much more casual than what you've experienced. Like, I've been doing basically like pet battles for like 2 days straight, which is like Pokemon within WoW.
yeah, they've really added some interesting levels to that game.
Yeah, I hate it and I like it at the same time. It's interesting. It's interesting. I really, really don't like a lot of it, and I really, really like a lot of it.
Yeah.
That was very articulate of me.
It was the most articulate.
I am the master of words. What can I say? I am the master of words in my domain. All right, Baker. Have a lovely night. We'll see you tomorrow.
You too, Jen. All right. Bye-bye.